question from Phillip. Most Yunnan sourcing raw pu'er productions are single source composed of material from single village or mountain. I greatly appreciate these cakes as they reveal the enormous variety of pu'er and the singular characteristics of pu'er from these sources. They are very high quality and very enjoyable to consume. What are your thoughts on how these single source cakes might age compared to some of the more well-known big factory blends that have been proven to age well? Well, that's a good question. I think that the quality of the tea is really important, and I think that tea harvested from like one family or two families tea gardens. I think the way that it tastes, when it's young, depending on the storage again, if it's wet stored or if it's dry stored. But if it's dry stored, which is I think most people's storage condition, unless you're in Southeast Asia or some other tropical place, I think with the drier storage, I think they're going to age very gracefully. I think in some ways they're like a person in the sense that you can't really change who you are, but you can, as you age, you develop hopefully wisdom, and you have experience, and you have more complexity and perspective and all these kind of things, and I think tea in some ways is very similar. So I think like a Menghai tea factory tea or a Xiaoguan tea, I think that they do have, I think that when they're young, to me, they're quite interesting and quite, but they also find that those teas have a very forceful energy. They're very pungent, and they're very strong, and they really, 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 really need to be aged. So, again, I think that my experience with single estate teas that have been aged is that they are very complex. They don't have the same character as blended plantation teas, like Xiaoguan and Menghai. But they do have a lot of character. Examples would be the 2002 Yong Hao Yiwu that I sell, is a great example of a tea that, with dry stored single estate tea, and it's just lovely to drink, just lovely. Some of the other examples would be the 5-star, the Menghai Tea Factory's Hai big cabbage head 5-star La Banjiang cake, which they did in was it 2000 or no? I think it's 2001 or 2002. Again, all tea from La Banjiang, and one of way more sought after and much higher price than any of their numbered productions like 7542 or 8582 or anything like that. So again, what made for such a special production from Menghai, and the big green tree, the 1999 big green tree, again, a Menghai Tea Factory production, not a regular production, but again, also one of the most sought after modern teas out there. So other examples would be which are actually available on our site, would be like the 2005 Hai Lang Hao Productions, the 2008 Lao Ba production that Hai Long did, which unfortunately is no longer available. Again, these aren't heavily aged teas, but you can see how complex they are and how well they have aged in that period of time. So, again, I think that if the tea is really good and has a lot of power, was processed well, I think it's going to carry that into its later years with even more complexity and even more depth. So I am, and again, it's not to say that these tea factory productions from larger tea factories like Menghai and Xiaoguan, those plantation teas, they have their own character, and some people prefer them, and that's why I sell them, because they represent a tradition. Um, and again, I touched on this with storage in one of my more my response to Xavier, which is we're kind of writing, we're kind of writing our own history here, and I think that the early examples from the late '90s and the early 2000s that we have from the big tea factories that did do for special production for some of their people, um, the results have been classics and highly valued classics. Much more of those increased in value much more quickly than a 7542 from the or an 8653 from Xiaoguan from the same era. Um, so, in answer to your question, yes, but I do also like blended teas, and I do offer several blended Yunnan sourcing productions, dating back to I believe 2011. So 2011, you can try and purchase the Zhai, which has gotten incredible feedback from my customers. It's a blend of the Insang tea from high quality sources. Again, Wild Arbor and Old Arbor, Zhai, Shang, which is another production from 2011 that's a blend. In the second half of 2011, I also did Xiang, which is maybe that's 2012. Anyways, that's 2012 autumn. Xiang, which is a blend. Shang I did in 2012. Zhai I did again in 2012. In 2013, I did Zhai again, which is again a very, very powerful tea. Which, if you drink it now, it's very strong, but it's very full. It's got a lot of body. It's got a lot of complexity. But at the same time, very balanced. Feng 2013 production. Spring from Jingmai, Jinggu, and somewhere else. I forgot. That's a really good one. 2013 autumn, I did a Yexin or Wild Heart blend. In 2014 spring, I did the Yexin Wild Heart blend again with all spring material. And then in 2015, I may do let's not leave out the Yunnan sourcing impressions, which are like the $20 cakes, which I've gotten great feedback from people on 2012 impression and 2014 impression. So they're there. If you want to try them, I think that blending is a great thing to do. Again, I think, why recreate the wheel by blending, in the style of Menghai Tea Factory or Xiaoguan. You can buy those cakes. You can buy those cakes from us. I want to create my own blends based on Wild Arbor and Old Arbor material, because I think, again, if you blend something really good together with something else that's really good, it's just going to be that much better. And that's typically the case. So hope I answered your question. I'm trying to keep them videos short, but I'm not doing very well. Thanks.